evening. Welcome to Bears Banter. My name is Bernard Muhammad. Today on the broadcast, you have Guy Moore, Mo Cross sitting in as a guest, Jimmy Red sitting in as a guest, Keith Floyd down at the bottom, and we have Tammy Harris. Jay was like, I'm not even going to take off work to watch this game today, so Jay can't make it today.
That was a good choice.
I know why Jay ain't get on here. I know why Jay ain't get on here.
Yeah. He didn't want to face the Michigan-Ohio State argument.
Yeah, of course.
That might be a good call. You're right.
Hey, Mo,
be the brakes off them boys.
He's supposed to wear the Michigan jersey, right?
Yeah, I just threw that out there. I said the loser got to wear the winner's team logo, whether it be a hat, a jersey, a shirt. So we'll see.
You'll probably get like a paperweight or a cup or something like that.
I'm going to buy him a mug when I see him, a Michigan mug. Tell him to put it in front of his camera next time you get on the podcast.
Team up north, put it on.
Hey, man. Jay love up some D Ohio State, man. Man, I'm gonna have to admit, Mo, man, I didn't have no favorites, but I didn't see that game coming like that. I didn't either. I thought it was gonna be much closer. Man, Michigan beat them. I mean, they should have called DCFS on them, man.
I know, right?
I was running around. So I didn't see it, but it looked like it was like tied at the half.
Yeah, at the half.
Michigan was up by one.
Ohio State was up 20-17 or something like that.
No, it was close, but people don't realize that Michigan is the best second half team in college football. Mm-hmm. They only allowed 3 points for Ohio State yesterday.
That saved Harbaugh's job.
Nah, he got to save last year when he beat
last
Ohio
year.
State.
Yeah, they beat Ohio State last year.
That was the key.
Yeah.
He 12-0.
I know we on here to talk about the Bears who fall today 31-10 to the Jets.
A moment of silence for the Bears.
Right.
Hallelujah.
Hey, you don't have to put up any of that stuff like in the hunt. No, they ain't in no hunt. Hey, anybody have anything they take away from this game? I am hoping that Eddie Jackson will be okay. I don't know.
And Darnell Mooney too, because I know he sprained his ankle. Yeah. It's just every guy. I could be a pundit here, man, but it just seemed like towards like the end of like the fourth quarter, it was just like, man, let's just get to Green Bay. I understand it. I know everything we had to deal with Justin not being there and then guys getting injured, but man, it's just. But Mike Day said something interesting too. It shows you truly how many flaws Justin covers up on offense. Because I mean, look at him though. I mean, he gets almost 100 yards a game, and a lot of those plays are either incompletions or like, especially when we got that fumble and it kept bouncing down the field, and we go right down and we just do a 3 and out. Mm-hmm. But that's just the way it goes, man. It's just like they're a rebuilding team, regardless of what people say, and that's what happens with guys just like.
Right.
Yeah, Bernard, my takeaway from this game is when you start out the game and your second string quarterback gets hurt in warm-ups, it's not gonna be good.
My leg.
I've never heard of a quarterback of a player getting hurt in the pregame warm-ups.
His feelings was injured. His feelings got hurt. That's what it was.
Hey, Mark,
who's the third string quarterback?
Me.
Nathan Peterman.
He was the backup.
Me.
Peter,
third string quarterback.
Oh my God, not Peter.
I thought he was making a business decision. He looked over there, they was warming up, and he was thinking about how many sacks he made. Yeah, he said,
he's like on the sideline. You can see him on the sideline like me, just sipping tea like, man, I'm glad to shoot, but it ain't me.
I'm gonna say my take from the game. I mean, if I have any, I like this. I saw Claypool. He looked good at times. Komet, of course, he looked good when he did finally get the ball. He had one little fumble, a mix-up, but he got it right back. And Tevin Jenkins. So I guess the three guys who were supposed to do something, they did something, like a little bit of something. But that's all I can take. I wasn't impressed with the running game, nor the passing game, nor the defense. So I'm sorry.
That's a tough one too, because Eddie Jackson's like a heart and soul. He's like that OG. This guy with the younger guys that they look up to and they try to play hard for. And when you see a guy go down like that, man, it's sad.
Yeah, that's tough.
Pray for him. I hope he's good though. I really do.
Yeah. So other than Claypool making a few catches, I was actually impressed by the 2 catches by Byron Pringle.
Yeah,
he did have one this year. Nice.
Yeah.
But he did. I mean, because I had started wondering about this signing because soon, he had the little thing in the off season with doing the donuts with his son or something in the car. He kind of started off on the wrong foot. Then as soon as they get ready to start, he's injured, missed half the season. Then when he get in there, he's get called for a few holding penalties, stuff like that. So I'm like, man, this guy Byron Pringle hasn't showed us anything, but he did make 2 tough catches today. Yeah, but I would like to point out that there was some Justin Fields hate going on this week and today. People thinking that, hey, watch when somebody could play quarterback, get in there, what was gonna happen? Mm-hmm. Well, that's why Simeon is a backup quarterback.
Crickets,
right?
Crickets. There's blatant crickets too.
Hey, Tam, what do you think about some of the hate you saw for Justin Fields this week? Reference to people thought there was going to be some miracle offensive explosion, like they had not been getting a lot of points.
Well, I mean, we know that there's always a lot of hate for Black quarterbacks, unless you come out as a rock star and you are doing what they expect you to do from the get-go. You're going to be judged. You're going to be judged harshly. And I had mixed feelings going into the game today because I'm like, okay, well, if we win, then that's just going to give them fuel to try to say that Justin is the problem when there are so many problems with the Bears currently that have to be addressed. And he's far from the biggest problem that we have.
That's a good take, Tammy. That's a really, really good take, And I'm kind of like, and now that I actually think of it, it wasn't something I was thinking, but now that you brought it out, that is interesting though, because if they win that game, then now you got the pundits and now you got the ear hustlers and all that stuff. But what this game basically showed you is how important, how valuable he is to our offense. 31-10.
Yep.
There it is.
Yep.
Yeah, I think what it showed today as well was these 5 or 6 games where we hit the explosion of points is just Justin Fields has been able to allow us to score quick. When you could get a 60-yard run where the Bears cannot have like long drives, right? That's what you can see like today and maybe early in the season because they don't have the talent to do long drives. So they need some kind of explosion because even if you look at it today, I believe Montgomery had a solid running game today. I think he had over 100 yards running, but they had no explosion in the running game. Just like 5 yards here,
79
yards here, 5 yards here, 2 yards here. The Bears can't drive like that. The Bears got to get 20-yard chunks, 30-yard chunks. That's what they need. And so they don't have that. And I noticed that before Mooney went out, as much as people was talking about Simeon, he didn't complete any pass, I don't believe, to Mooney. He just threw up a couple of jump balls.
He didn't have any.
A couple of balls that were contested to Pringle, and he threw some balls that he shouldn't have threw. Wow. That he was lucky he only had one interception.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? Here's another interesting dynamic that Justin Fields brings. I mean, it sort of changes the dynamics of a coverage standpoint for defensive backs and linebackers because now you got the under guy. It's almost like got to sort of semi-play like a spy just in case he runs out. Now you don't have that running quarterback dude get like, oh, I'm going low, you go high. We just gonna stand out here and they ain't getting nothing, So, oh boy, that's all I can say.
Yeah, this should put a damper on the naysayers as far as the talent that Justin Fields has because it's like honestly he's the best weapon we have on offense. And I'm looking at third downs. He's able to scramble out. He's able to get a first down. Justin Fields' determination plus his talent with his legs. It's hard to match. It's hard to cover. Even if you got a spy, They can't keep up with that dude.
Right.
And then if you bring two people at him, he knows how to at least throw the ball in medium coverage to get a guy like Mooney or get a guy like Komet to catch the ball. So they missed him today.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they definitely missed him. You can't. It's hard to replace somebody that has that much impact in the game. I mean, Justin Fields. I think they even mentioned it today between him and Herbert. They're what 70% of the Bears offense. Yeah.
Yep. 70%. Yep.
70%. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, that's hard to replace. But you know what? But it's so hard to talk about offense today because they really didn't have any. They only had 10 points and under 200 yards passing and maybe about. I didn't look at the stats because I was like, I don't even want to look at that. It's probably trash. I think they had about 120 yards, rushing, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Who was 127 yards rushing?
Okay. So what about a little bit under 300 yards of total offense?
Total offense for us was where are we at? Oh my God. That's what happens when you get fat fingered.
Simeon left a lot of plays out there too. A couple of throws were there that he missed. You know,
total.
Not saying that Justin is, outstanding.
292. We got beat total yards 460. Oh, I'm sorry. 466 to 292. We only had 292 yards total.
292 yards. Okay.
413 third down efficiency. We were 2 or 3 and fourth downs though. Wow.
They gotta put a positive spin on it.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, but one of the things I did say too is Jenkins is a dog. I mean, it was some plays where not only that Jenkins drove his man back, he drove his man to the ground where he fell on top of him and pushed him again when he got up.
I love it, man. I love it.
That's what you're supposed to do. Be a dog out there. Let them know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I like? The good thing about Eberflus, as far as with Jenkins, they're letting him be a dog. If y'all can recall last year when he tried to be a dog, Nagy pulled him to the side. It was a game in particular.
Minnesota.
He pulled him to the side. Yeah, he pulled him to the side and told him to stop. And it was like, dude, he was protecting Justin Fields, and then he was getting in the guy's face, regardless if it was a penalty or not. Sometimes you need to take a penalty in order to get the point across. So, man, I like that Eberflus is letting him actually play his type of style of playing. That needs to triculate for the rest of the guys on the offensive line, though. Like, we need that nastiness throughout. We got to have some type of identity, and the way that the Bears are normally have normally had identity is with our nastiness and our running game. So we need to get that back.
Hey, but them Bears OGs, when he did that move against Minnesota, protecting Tevin Jenkins, every last one probably had tears in their eyes and went from tears to rage when they saw who was the dude? Who was the guy, the vet that came up and pushed him and started going off on the field? If one of them OGs, if one of them older OGs older than him had saw him push Tevin like that, one of them would have grabbed him and muffed him. Because that's an identity. I mean, you're supposed to be protecting your quarterback. You're supposed to set a precedent to say, okay, you get your regular tackle stuff, but you do some extra stuff, you're going to have to see me. And that's what football is, man.
Yeah. You know, coming to the season, I know the Bears was rebuilding, and I was thinking if the Bears could at least figure out 3 things that they saw from the previous management, they would be in good shape. One is figure out was Justin Fields their quarterback. I think that's been answered. The other one would be did they have any answers at offensive line? And I was hoping it was Jenkins and Bourne, but I believe they only answered the Jenkins part. Yeah. I think with Bourne, you do not have a starting tackle. And I think with the current draft with Braxton, was it Braxton Jones?
Braxton Jones,
You don't have a starting tackle. So
I don't know about that one.
Was that with Braxton?
Jones?
Yeah, Braxton Jones
was an experiment, though.
No, he's held his own. As a matter of fact, there were 2 offensive tackles that were picked in the first round that aren't performing as well as Braxton Jones is today. So, the value that we're getting for that 5th round pick is tremendous. He's going to make his mistakes. He's a rookie. He's going to get beat or whatever, but he's pretty stout as far as his play. He's not, the bruiser that we want him to be, but this is the same thing we did with Leno. We didn't appreciate Leno until he was no longer on the team. So, it's one of those, be careful what you wish for.
And I'm one of those ones too, man. And it's like, I can't even, as nice that I go and I watch games or I look at it, I'm like, man, I was giving it to Leno, man. But right now, I wish we had him. I wish.
Yeah. So Bears got a lot to face because you could see in this game, once the Bears got in situations where they had to pass the ball, you could see the pressure that he was under, and not having a quarterback like Justin who could evade some of those. I mean, and maybe that's why Simeon was like, no, maybe I got hurt in the warm-ups. Hey, because being a backup, man, that's one of the best professions in the NFL. A backup, the best thing that can happen to the backup is to stay a backup. The worst thing that can happen to a backup if you have to start
is to play.
Right, to play. You could be around the league for 20 years as a backup if you only have to play a game here and there. And guess what? A lot of them make good coaches. They end up being
he did go to Northwestern, didn't he?
Well, unless you're a backup for Chicago Bears or the Cleveland Browns, then you're going to have to play a whole lot of games.
A whole lot, yeah. Might even make you coach. Shoot. Man.
Doug, Vince Evans, 20 years.
Hey.
Yeah. Hey, so, I mean, as far as offense, anybody getting grades for the offense today?
Is that
F?
Yep.
I tell you, one good thing I liked about offense was Darrington Evans, that second string back. He looked like he had some pop on his runs. He didn't look like he was, too small for the moment. Right. And he was definitely better than Ebner. Ebner is still out there shaking, man. What was that you used to do for Vildor last year, guy? With the shaking, that's what Ebner.
Oh, that was
right.
That wasn't Vildor. That was Buster Screen.
Buster Screen.
So that's the only thing I can say about offense that was positive from my perspective is the second string running back looked like he wasn't scared to play.
And I hope it's sustainable too, because a lot of those guys that sit, they want to play real bad. And now they get their chance and they just get off. A couple games they do good, and then after that it's like this. I hope he can sustain that, what he does.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think that it looks like Montgomery probably has lost a step. He wasn't the fastest guy to begin with, but either he's hurt or the wear and tear or what have you. Yeah. I'm a little concerned about Montgomery for a long-term perspective.
Yeah, but every time you get hit,
what I saw today too with Montgomery, other than what you just said, I don't know, was this the linemen or was it him? Quite a few times he ran into his linemen today.
Yeah, you just run right into him. Forget that on either side. Just run into the lineman.
He didn't have the patience.
I don't know, was it them because they was getting up field? Now the positive that the linemen were up the field, supposed to be blocking, but somewhere between him and the lineman, there was confusion. It just didn't happen in one play. I think I counted at least 4 plays where him and the lineman collided upfield that knocked him off the mark, where he probably would have gained more yards if they had not collided.
Well, to your point, that's just bad running back play. If you see an offensive lineman in front of you blocking, you don't run into his back. What's the point of that? He's trying to help you. You either go to the left or to the right, but don't run right into him. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it was several backs that he missed because he ran right into his lineman. It was open lanes. If he'd have just cut back and he ran right into his lineman, especially the one where he spent right into a tackle.
Right. Yeah.
Somebody said
that may be just too. Could be pressing a little hard, right? Where you feel the competition a little bit, and you pressing hard because you kind of feel. I mean, it's human nature, right? You kind of feel the pressure because if you look at the NFL, most of the time people are not really competing against another player. You get drafted in your spot, you the starter, and that's it. It ain't until like you get to the end of your career to actually have a back on the team that's actually competing with you. And right now, he may be, he's leading you in some categories. That's just, I think that could be stressful too, when maybe he's pressing hard, because to me, it looks like he lost a step. And that's not to put Montgomery down or anything. It just looked like he lost a step. And it looked like at times, other than him being better in the blocking game and on third down, it just seems like it's runs where I was like, man, what is he looking at? Herbert would have probably got this like on one run he had today. I was like, that was clearly about a 20-yard run that only turned out to 6 yards.
You're right.
Because of he ran through the wrong, once he got upfield, he ran into the back of his lineman. And then I think what happened is he kind of like stuttered. And then the side he picked was the wrong side, because you got to read your blockers and read your blockers' shoulders. Yeah. And it seemed like he was just kind of running and not really having field awareness, just running because he could run through the tackles. I don't know what's going on there.
I think he was just trying to put a team on his back, and he ended up just being on the back of one of his teammates. No, I just think that but I do believe that he probably may have been pressing a little bit, and he might have been impatient. So
I think that's still the difference between Montgomery and Hebner. You and Herbert, sorry. You always see Herbert pick up more yards because he can see those holes in those lanes, versus Montgomery's more of a, I'm just going, 3 yards in a cloud of dust and, run into people. He's almost looking to run into people as opposed to run away. His job is actually to gain yards. Right. The job ain't to run over people and intimidate them. It's to gain yards.
But like,
I see something from our Facebook user said, Claypool still, the jury is out. They need a defensive lineman, 2 linebackers, a corner. Put Gordon in the slot. Gordon is in the slot. He playing nickel.
Nickel, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But
I'm not arguing with a lot of that. So
the same here. But Herbert's an elusive back, though. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like his whole thing is like, man, I'm trying to get 6, and I don't want you to touch me. I ain't trying to run into you. I don't like you like that. Montgomery's like I said, they were talking about him pressing with his legs 600 pounds. And a lot of times guys like that, they tend to try to find the hole. They're like, okay, if I can't find it, I'm going to make one. But unfortunately, I don't care how strong you are. You going 5-on-1, you're usually going to lose that one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it looks like we got all else on the defense. Hey, let's jump to the brag.
Hell no, right, that's what I gave him.
We finally making some ground. Mo actually jumped out front. Mo is
look at Mo.
That's almost.
Mo did hit 500. Guy 5-7.
I'm almost my height.
Christian 5-7. I don't know how I lost. Oh, they're good. Jay 5-7. I'm 4-8. Tammy 4-8, and Plank 4-8.
Hey, Mo would make it in the playoffs in these years.
I'm 3-9. Whatever the Bears record is, that's what I'll be. 3-9, because I'm always picking the Bears.
Okay, you 3-9. Okay.
I always want them to win. I'm not always able to pick them.
But I tell you what, not to fast forward as much to next week. Y'all could just go ahead and book it right now for me and Tammy. You already know what time it is.
And me too.
Oh yeah,
you already know what time it is. I don't care if they got one person on the Chicago Bears. You know who I got. It's just a matter of y'all hearing my score.
That's all. I agree. We on the same page.
Right.
Slap Aaron Rodgers in the face too. Yeah.
I'll do it.
He ain't gonna feel it.
He ain't gonna slap him in the face. Hopefully they can intercept the ball, because they ain't get to the quarterback. So maybe we can intercept it and take it away. But our pass rush is terrible.
So can I ask y'all a question?
Yes, sir.
Because I know it's some it was like a post going around saying that Saquon wanted to come to the Bears, like we were one of his teams.
Oh yeah.
Would y'all be open to bringing him in?
I did say yes, and then I was looking at the numbers, and I'm like, do that. But then, as the guys were talking on the show last time, I thought about it. It's like, I would be willing to bring him in, but 18.5.
I bring him in for the right price. You still think about he's a running back with a lot of wear and tear. He's already had one ACL injury. So going forward, the chance and the propensity for him to have another injury is pretty high. If he's a great player, but one of the things that we talk about is if we bring in him as a running back, we need to bring in some offensive linemen.
Yeah,
Only,
it's a waste. It'd be a waste.
A pool of money.
Right.
So,
You just basically throwing money out the window.
I don't know. Tammy, you doing the accounting for the Bears. Do we got enough money to get 15 different all-star players?
I don't think we need a running back. I think our running game is pretty solid. We got Montgomery, we got Herbert, and today you saw Evans doing a pretty good job. So that's not our weakness. So I would spend the money somewhere else.
Or just go ahead since Montgomery's I love that. But since Montgomery's contract is up, like I say, you give him whatever, like 8, 9 or whatever it is, bring him back.
No, I wouldn't.
I'd bring him back at $8 million a year. Yeah.
$8 million.
Yeah, well, for the price, maybe. But I'm looking at offensive linemen. I'm looking at because you got the guy who's coming out of Kansas City, Orlando Brown. He's gonna want some money. He's an offensive tackle, and then you got Ellington Jenkins from Green Bay. He wants some money too.
I don't know. He's a bruh, but he's still from Green Bay. I don't know if I want him to
listen. And then
I normally agree with Mo, but I don't agree with you on this one. We have a solid running game, and Justin can't be a consistent part of that. We need true running backs. We have true running backs with Montgomery, Herbert, and UC Evans developing. We have one component of our game that is consistently solid,
and that's the running game.
And that's the running game. So leave it.
Yeah. It depends on what Montgomery wants, like how much. Because we just talked about it today. He's slowing down a bit. He's showing impatience for some reason. Because he had the blocking today, it was just he running into the back of the guys, into the back of their shins, and you know what I'm saying. So I think if he wants more than 8, then I would say no, because I would say develop Evans, let Herbert be the lead back, and then try to fill the offensive lineup and fill the defensive lineup.
Hey, but you know what? On the real though, David Montgomery was the top rusher for both teams because Zonovan Knight had 14 carries for 69 yards. So a lot of that could be too. It could have been the Zonovan, Zonovan Knight. You know, somebody daddy or something like that was probably lit. Like, we gonna name him? We gonna name him Donovan? Yeah, Zonovan. You know, but the footing was kind of bad. It looked like it was slick, but not too slick. But it doesn't seem like the running backs were really as active. But no, Ty Johnson had 5 carries for 62 yards.
Well, he was hurt though.
Yeah. Mike Patterson said y'all tripping. He was
average. Tripping.
5.6. You talk about Montgomery? Yeah, for the team we were 4-4, but 79 yards. And we had what was our guy? Our quarterback, Mr. Simeon. He had 179 yards passing.
Yeah. This is what Bears fans do. Bears fans are fickle, and if a player has 1 or 2 games or whatever, then too often people write them off. People were calling for Cairo Santos to be replaced. He 19 of 20 for the season. He had the longest kicking streak, 40 in a row. His average is 84.4, which is high for. You know, it's in the higher range for a field goal kicker. He was one of our most consistent players. He had a couple of whatever y'all want to call them, and people were saying, "Oh, we need to kick him to the curb." No.
Yeah, I think they're wrong.
Yeah.
You know, I hate Santos.
You have fans who turn on players right away, and they're like, "Hey, they ain't no good." I personally think they should bring Montgomery back. But what that price is, you know,
that's the key.
That's gonna be key, like what the price is gonna be to bring them. But that's not the problem because we know we can run the ball. That's not a problem, and you know the market is gonna dictate what you pay them anyway, right? So that's gonna that's gonna flush itself out as far as what he get paid. And I think what Mike was reading is I'm not saying Montgomery played bad. I was just saying you notice there is no explosion. You can't get chunks the way you get with Justin Field and Herbert playing, and the Bears offense cannot be methodical like that. They don't have enough. That's basically what I was saying. They don't have enough talent to have long drives.
Right.
They need those chunk plays, and so that's why you saw in drives today kind of fizzle out.
Right.
We did. Let's move over to the defense. The defenseless defense.
What defense?
You mean the Jack Sanborn show? the Jack Sanborn show.
Yeah, he showed promise.
Man, but here's the sad part about it. Okay, Jack had 15 total with 10 solos. DeAndre Houston Carson, Nick Morrow, Jalen Johnson, Elijah Hicks. You got defensive backs, man. You got defensive backs leading your team, except for Nick Morrow. I know Nick's a linebacker, but you got them guys leading tackles, man. That's outside of Sanborn.
Bernard, I got something to say about the defense today. Okay. Today, my word for the defense is porous, which basically means filled with holes. So we definitely were filled with holes, and it has a dual meaning in this case because it could also be defined as poor ass, as in you ain't good, this sucks. Let me just throw a couple of names out there for everybody that watched the game and didn't hear no names. Mike Piddle, Dominic Robinson, Travis Gibson, Angelo Blackson. Those are our defensive line. I know y'all didn't know that they played because we didn't hear their name all game. Those guys suck. And that's why our defense is not doing anywhere near as competitive as they need to be. There you go.
Oh, wow. Oh, man. You don't need a leather couch, man, and somebody with a clipboard Monday, man. Well, tell us how you really feel.
It's one thing to do half your job and to not finish your job. The Bears defense, sometimes what you watch is you'll see a guy shoot the right gap or push the play out, what he's supposed to do, and miss the tackle.
Yep.
I mean, if you look at this game, I don't know the stats on missed tackles, but if they had the amount of missed tackles, they offense would have probably not moved the ball other than in the passing game where they kind of was real easy. But in the running game, they would not have moved the ball as easy as they were because of all the missed tackles of guys literally right there missing tackles at the top. And on plays, it wasn't like one guy missed a tackle. It'd be like 3-4 of them miss a tackle. I mean, even the play where Eddie Jackson got hurt, I believe there was mixed tackles, not on his part because he fell before the play, but there was mixed tackles on that play.
Yeah. I agree with you, Bernard. That comes down to I know we said we've heard this a bunch of times this year. Assignment, alignment, key, technique. That's what Eberflus coaches all the time. You keep hearing preaching. You haven't heard him say it in the last couple games. Assignment, where are you supposed to be? Where alignment? Are you lined up correctly? Are you in the hole? Do you make sure you fill in where you're supposed to go? Key, when they do X, you're supposed to know what your response is. And lastly, if you do all of that stuff and you get to you've done everything and you get to the guy and simply just miss a tackle, that's terrible technique. So the Bears teach this. However, it looks like we don't have the players that are actually implementing this into their structure. So it's frustrating.
Hey, you know what I like about Jack Sanborn? Not the strongest dude.
Everything.
Not the fastest dude. not even maybe the top 150 linebackers, whatever in the NFL. But I guarantee you this: if I'm lying, I'm flying. If you saw that game today on defense, when there was a tackle made, he was either getting the tackle or he was there. Because you know what? It's like you can't be, okay, I'm going to do it now. Oh, I'm going to take off. This dude was hitting it every play. And you got to have that consistency. And I'm watching Jalen Johnson once make a tackle where that dude ran off that nice little grip of yards. He making an arm tackle. The dude slid off his arm. And I'm just sitting here like, man, triple.
What you have, Mo?
I mean, the defense, it is what it is. I'm not even focused on this year's defensive line because it's a rebuild. So I'm not, I mean, they get an F overall because you're in the NFL. You're in the NFL, period. But I'm looking at the rebuild. I'm more so focused on the draft. You know, at this point, we can get Anderson. But like I had posted in the group, if we can trade that first-round pick and get 2 first-round picks some type of way, then do that and get a defensive lineman and an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman and a receiver or something like that. But Dude, the key is the line, both lines, the offense and the defense, especially the defense.
Yeah, but
Like,
the only
man.
person that's gonna get that deal will be Jesus. This is only
I
one
mean,
because
hey, look,
we'd like to try it. I'm with you on that. I'm 100% with you.
so this is why I wasn't all in on Claypool for that second round pick. You pair those two picks up and get another first round pick. Somebody would have bid off of that, especially a contending team. But you brought in Claypool because they went off of his potential. Not saying that he would never be good, but I think they should have showed a little patience, and then, or they can do how San Francisco did the Bears when they got Trubisky. You can trade a pick back. If somebody bites, you can trade a pick back and then pick up another 3 or 4 picks, including the next year's pick. So you gotta, to me, we can talk because it sounds easy, but as the GM, you have to show some type of patience as far as with these draft picks and with you rebuilding this team, man.
Well, keep in mind we got a GM that turned 6 picks into 11 picks last year, and without a first round draft choice. So I got a lot of confidence in Ryan Poles, and I see what he's trying to do. I see what he's doing. So giving him an opportunity to go in there with these high draft picks and what have you, I'd be amazed to see what he can turn those into. So I'm looking forward to Ryan Poles getting the chance to actually show us what he does about building the framework of a team.
Yeah, one of my arguments, and we were talking about offline, is I've seen people say, "Oh, we've been rebuilding every year." No, we have not. See, this is what a rebuild actually looks like. What you're talking about is you've seen a lot of bad teams. That is a total difference, and some may not agree with rebuild should have had to happen, but this is actually a rebuild. Bad team. Sometimes you could be overpaying to be bad, and then what ended up happening is you just continue to be bad because you're just bad enough just to be 500, which continues to not let you fix your team. So I'm like, Mo, I didn't really look at much on the defense because I do know traditionally the defense is much easier to fix than the offense. Because Bears have had bad offenses for pretty much almost 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
You could count on one hand the number of times we had bad defenses. This year, maybe the year with Trestman, and I think it was one year with John Fox had a bad defense. But you could go through all the Bears coaches pretty much, even if you had a year that was off. You could fix the defense, but offensively, you got to get the quarterback right. So defensively, what I see is guys who are professionals, the least thing they should be able to do is at least make a tackle. If you can't make a tackle, maybe you need to be in the practice squad, maybe go over to Canada. I'm not sure, but you shouldn't be in the NFL if you can't make a tackle.
Hey, or get with your boy Trevor Screen over there in Kroger. They hire him. But but it's like you can't do them. It's almost like dreadlocks, man. You can't cut the tips off and use a hot comb. You got to cut it all off, man. Just like I said, they're blowing it up. They're doing it like you said. You're right. There isn't as much with the defense as the offense, man. But a lot of times they put the onus on. Oh, the Bears have never had a great offense. Yeah, let's just load up and get guys, and we're gonna do all this stuff. The defense, but we're a defensive known squad, an entity for as long as I can remember, so.
Yeah. Now, do y'all think, I know everybody pretty much gave defense an F, right? Is that a consensus?
Yeah.
But looking at it long term, are there anybody that you believe that's we got a lot of 1-year contracts. Is there anybody on the defense that's in one of those 1-year deals or 2-year deals that you think going to come back next year?
I hope not.
That's all we got.
Those rookies that we got, they under 3-4-year contracts.
Yeah,
I like building from them as an infrastructure. I hope we don't bring any of those 1 or 2 year guys back. You know what? That's not true. I think Morrow may have earned another year. He's a decent NFL linebacker. He's not a game changer, but he's decent.
Nobody on the
just need to work on his tackling. That's all.
all.
Morrow just missed too many tackles for.
Well, that ain't good.
Yeah, but he's always in the right spot, which probably kind of get him graded a little high because when coaches grade you, right? They grade you too on did you execute the play right? They have different ways of matrix of grading you. So he seemed to always be in the right spot, but he just can't make a tackle. I mean, I don't know what's wrong because his technique looked fine. I mean, maybe he needs to get in the weight room. I don't know what it is because it's not like
that ain't gonna be good in dating either. She said, "Hey, he's always in the right spot. He just can't finish the play."
We sorry, Tammy.
You sound. See, I done put you in my Bitmoji, man, and now you sound too much like me, man. I'm supposed to be the harlot of the squad.
Hey, did y'all see anything in special team or coaching today? Coaching, I'm gonna have to give a coaching F today. I don't think they did anything to. I didn't expect them to win. I had them losing, but I didn't expect them to get beat by 31 to what was it, 10?
Yep.
So I give the coaching F today. Like there was not much in special team. It's a no grade for me as far as special teams.
Usually they make an adjustment at halftime, but I mean, you came out, you got the ball, and you went 3 and out. That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I mean, they looked better in the first quarter and a half. That was when you thought maybe they might actually play. But they got worse after halftime.
Yeah, they did.
I agree, Tammy.
Yeah. It looked like those scripted plays worked, Tammy. It looked like that's all that happened. It looked like those scripted plays worked early on. And then once you got out of the scripted plays, it was like nothing happened at all, It went down.
So what you're saying is that Getsy isn't really a genius. He just riding Justin Fields as well?
I don't know yet.
You know what? I'm on the fence about Getsy. It's like 1 minute Getsy gets it, and 1 minute he don't get it.
He's new to doing this, so that makes sense.
I'm gonna say this, just like what he just said. He's new to it, and it seems like he's making the weekly adjustments. I think right now he should be in the experimental stages with Justin, if Justin plays again this season. But he should be in the more, let's develop some pocket passes, some two-step drops, some shallow crosses, some, quick slants, and maybe get Justin his accuracy up. Try to build his accuracy a little more on the short passes. So that's what Getsy should do, because right now, not saying we don't need to win, but we don't need to win. It's more of an experimental phase. Let's see who can actually play. So let's try to get those guys involved, maybe run some plays for Claypool, maybe teach him some hot routes. Same thing for Mooney, same thing for Komet, same thing for Justin. Let him be a free spirit. Try to, make those calls at the line and change the plays up a few times. Let him get that type of experience, man. It's that time now.
Well, I'd only disagree with you at one point is you do need to win. You always need to practice on your final goal. So, you ever heard that same thing, a perfect practice makes perfect? That means, if we just keep practicing losing, we just going to be real good at losing.
Yeah.
So, we still have to pull out some wins. I mean, because that establishes your culture, especially with such a young team, especially with so many rookies. So, I still think we need to actually win some games here in order to have a successful building block for the next season.
I think we should be on the KISS level. It should be on the KISS play call and to keep it simple, stupid.
That's what she said.
I give it.
Okay.
But I'll tell you what, though. I'll give you an example. Look at the Jets' first drive. That's it. It was simple. It wasn't no Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey circus. Short passes, run a little bit. I mean, I know there's some things that we didn't help with, but they were able to execute. I think he was like, your boy was like, what, 6 of 7 or 7 of 7, something like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
he went crazy.
You can get imaginative plays and stuff like that, but I got nothing, man.
Okay, so do Justin Fields play against what Tammy called them? The Whackers? Is that what you call them, Tammy?
Yes.
Do
I think
Justin
he had.
Fields play against the Whackers? What y'all have?
This
I
is
say,
close to the Super Bowl as we getting.
Yeah. Praise the Lord.
I
hey,
think
look,
they can lose every other game this year, but as long as we
except
whoop
them.
Aaron Rodgers and the Packers,
It's a
I'll be
successful
happy.
season.
I agree.
Bernard, I think you said every team that Green Bay lost to, we lost to, right? Is that still true?
Just about. I think it might be
think
one
so.
team.
So I at this point, I mean, the Packers are not like what people expect the Packers to be this year, right? But there still is some glory in beating the Packers. So
Yeah.
I say when it comes to the Packers, we should always play to win.
Well, you know what? There's this saying that they say you should never kick a man when he's down, but I can't think of a better time.
That's the time to kick him.
Stomp them out. Stomp them out.
Straight
This
up
boy
stomp
had
him
me
out.
twice. That's the best time to kick him.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah, that's right.
He's at that level.
You're right. Kick him while he's on the ground. You know, you leave. You know what? You leave no doubt that you beat his.
yeah, what he said.
And that the Bears have to approach this game like that, and I'm hoping that they do some soul searching this week. And when I say soul searching, and it's just perception for me. I may be incorrect. I swear this team quit in that game.
They did.
They did quit.
Yeah.
And your team cannot afford to quit, especially going into a rival week. And they need to get their heads up and, you know what, and play like you want to be in the NFL, right? The outcomes may not be always what you want, but you play into that final whistle. And to me, they got 31 points because the players appeared to me like they quit. And they just kind of like was not really giving it a full effort. But guess what the Jets was doing? The Jets was giving it a full effort. The Jets were trying to beat the Bears. They didn't care how many players got hurt. They didn't care if Justin Fields didn't play. They came to play ball and beat the Bears. The Bears players, to me, somewhere in the third quarter, it looked like they was deflated. They couldn't even pick up fumbles, right? I mean, the one series, I know ball was wet. You could have probably scored a touchdown. Not only you fumbled the ball yourself about 3 times.
Well, a lot of those guys, they're going to be doing this as their job next week. Would you like that shoe in a size 12 or a size 11?
Al Bundy.
You want it in blue or beige? We got that same shoe in multiple colors. So
We
that's
also
what their
have
job
socks and apparel as
definition
well.
gonna be.
Would go very well with your items.
Give them a nice bag with it. There you go.
Well, I will say this: if Justin Fields is hurt, and if it's a matter of playing for the future, and he really can't play, in all seriousness, don't play him. Let him rest.
Right.
Yep. I agree.
Completely agree with that.
But hopefully, he's healthy and can play.
He's gonna be miraculously healed by next week because there's something about him that when he came into this when he came to the team, you could see the hate in his eyes for Green Bay. I'm like, sure, he's gonna probably say get some scissors and some tape and just hook a brother up. I'm playing. And he'll probably
He wanted to play today.
Yeah.
You can't go off of what the players say as far as injuries. The good players want to play. So I say if he's not 100%, I wouldn't take a chance, especially with our O-line. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to think Green Bay has the same mentality we got. We want to win too. So it's like they might put the pressure and the heat on Justin, knowing he has some type of flaw on his left shoulder. So you don't want to take that chance. But if he's 100%, man, he better get out there. We don't need no Jay Cutler sitting around, and, and moping and all this stuff, knowing he can go out there and play. So,
well, hopefully they have a conversation with the O-line, and they at least get people looking in the right direction when they're supposed to be looking.
That might be important.
It's like,
but when they have that conversation,
I'm not much of a conspiracy theorist, but if you really think about it, the NFL did us no favors by making this bye be in the 13th week. Think about how beat up your team ends up being after 13 weeks.
Yeah.
So, it's almost like they gave us a bye at the end of the season. That makes no sense to kind of hold that off that late.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I say I'm in agreement with Tammy. If he's healthy enough to play. But if he's not, don't play him because I want him here for the long term. And just because it's not his throwing arm, that your other arm is part of your mechanics when you're throwing the ball.
Yeah,
you definitely need to raise that arm up. It actually is almost like a shotgun, right? When you're shooting a gun and you have, I'm not a gun owner, but you have the pistol barrel or whatever. But that other arm is like the pistol barrel, right? It helps you guide where you throw the ball, and that's part of your mechanics. And if you're having problem bringing that ball up, it does affect your accuracy. It's like with any of us, right? When you have any uncomfortable thing, think about like rotator cuffs and stuff like that. Usually when a person had that injury, they end up getting it to the other shoulder too, right? Because they make an adjustment.
Compensation
For that injury. But I'm hoping the Bears are doing everything they can. They ought to be piping that video in the locker room all week. Aaron Rodgers saying I own y'all, right? They need to be out there like hating his guts. No, you don't own us. Anytime they get close to him, they should be like, no, we own you, right? I mean, you need to heat this rival up. I mean, make this thing back into you don't like him and he don't like y'all. Stop all that friend stuff, right? If you could kind of like
Michigan and Ohio State.
Yeah, we need to do them just like the Wolverines did Ohio State.
Ow.
Ow. Oh.
We need to do it like OSU, Overrated State University. We need to do this just like.
Oh man, why you picking on Jay?
Shots fired.
Shots fired. To defend himself, man. Get off my boy. Jay, put your hands up. Stand in 8.
Hey.
Jay don't here to defend himself, man.
Shots is fired, man. But OSU didn't have no flak jackets, man.
They got all that talent for nothing.
But in that whole, and just kind of sort of segue away from that, I was talking about this earlier, which is really tripped out. They lose and drop to 5th. If a TCU who's undefeated, if they lose and they played even one of the top teams, they'd probably be out the top 10. A lot of that stuff has to do with that branding and marketing and stuff, because my thing is the one that I think that's a little better is like the basketball rankings. Like if this is Ohio State and Michigan, and then Ohio State loses, they'd be like 10th. But they dropped to 5th.
Well, with basketball, man, it's a little different because the tournament, you got 65 teams. Whereas with this one, they played against the second and third seed played against each other. They lost. Yeah, granted, they got smashed, but they lost to a championship contending team. So you kind of got to give them their just due. But I think what they're doing now is you see Alabama is slowly creeping up. They're trying to put them in the playoffs too. Some type of way they're going to squeeze those guys in. USC, if they lose, they're going to make Alabama leapfrog Ohio State.
Yeah.
They're going to put Bama in there.
Hey Mo, they trying to charge you up. I don't see the name. They say name 5 teams better than Ohio State.
Besides,
I can name one. That's the only one that counts.
That was the ultimate collar pop.
Y'all might want to leave that young man alone.
Hey, 2 of my lodge brothers are from Michigan, man, and we were sitting up because one of my guys came in from Texas yesterday. And we're sitting up at Hooters, and by the way, yes, his wife was with him. So, so we up at Hooters watching the game, and they both sitting up there, and all these Ohio State fans are just going crazy, and they're kind of getting smaller and smaller and smaller. The next thing you know, you can hear booger talk. It was so quiet.
Yeah, that's how it was at the bar. I was at.
Ain't nobody worried about y'all sitting up in Hooters watching women in booty shorts. You can see worse on the street.
Yeah, but the food was good.
That is
it was good. We didn't come for the
trying
shorts.
to see better on the street.
Yeah, but then sometimes we see, but to keep it 1,000, wow, it ain't no disrespect to the people who are hardworking persons there, but it's kind of hard to look at somebody that's size 0 when they turn like this and they look like a long eye.
Hey, like thank everybody who's watching us on YouTube and Facebook and watching Bears Banter today. As we go into getting closer to the college playoff, we're going to add a little bit more college talk as Jay work on the college football program, but we just integrate some of that into the program as we get closer and closer, because we know we love to argue about who's going to make that and how they rank them and how did they get to that point. Yeah, and like I said, this year, I'm starting to agree with you. If one or more team get a loss, they're gonna work Alabama back in there somehow.
Mm-hmm. Rightly so.
Yeah. You see LSU drops. You seen Tennessee been dropped. Then you know, like they just slowly creep. Alabama wasn't supposed to be at number 8. First of all, they had lost twice, and they put them at number 8. So that was the conspiracy right there. So. They creeping their way right on up without having a SEC championship this year. They gonna put them right in the playoffs.
Okay, Tammy, I was looking at an old show yesterday, and I guess this season been so bad that I hadn't even asked you about Tammy's top 5 all season.
Tammy's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is my top 5 right there.
Maybe this season we should have done the bottom 5.
Right.
Basically, yeah.
We'd have had too many to choose from, though. That's the problem.
Right. Yeah. You know how they used to have the NFL thing where they used to show like I forget what they used to call it, but it was kind of like the I guess almost like bloopers, right?
Yeah.
Bad plays, and the guy would go through all those real quick. On Sunday,
Weigel's Wieners.
He did this and he did that. And, hey, that's what we could have made Tammy top 5 this year.
Weigel's Wieners.
I had to think about the first quarter and a half and see if there were even 3.
Or you know what it would be? Justin Fields.
Hey, one of those top 5s would be when they showed him on the sideline.
Was it last week or the week before last? There was like a beautiful pass to like Darnell Mooney that was a really big catch. And but we were doing top 5 of every game.
Right.
Yeah, that's hard. I could find 5 for the season.
What you gonna find for today?
Hey, you know what? Let's do that though, because this when we get ready for Friday's show, if you can, let's look at some plays that we thought were good this year. No matter what the number may be, 3, 5, or something, so we can have some positive things that we taken away from this season to talk about. And I'm gonna try to put together some clips of maybe some Green Bay shows where we talked about, because there'll be some of our fondest shows to me. It's when we get to Green Bay week. There's always something that's gonna happen in those games.
What I will say is, even though the refs weren't horrible today, I just want to know what for the last 2 seasons at least have the refs seemed to have had against us, because they just don't call plays for us. And you try to not make it like a conspiracy thing, but I'd say going back to the Pittsburgh game last year, especially to like, it's like, why do we not get calls? Like,
that's right.
It's frustrating. Like, I believe that you're gonna miss some, but you're gonna miss some on both sides. But it seems like they call so many phantom calls against us and miss blatant calls that we should get.
Yeah, because even on that catch with Claypool, I mean, I hate to use this term, but it was almost like he was trying to dry hump him. He literally grabbed Claypool before the ball got there, pulled him back 2-3 yards, and ironically, it just actually made it look like it was a better throw. And when he dropped the ball, if he had dropped that ball, they were not calling pass interference.
And there was another one that he didn't catch the ball that should have been pass interference.
Yep, and that's honestly, that was one of the turning points. That one that no call, because that was towards the end of the game too, when we was on the drive coming back. So yeah, man, and that was right in front of the ref, like right there. So there's no excuses for that. And then the next week they want to say, "Oh yeah, we missed 2 big calls against the Bears." Yeah, that don't count now. Y'all can say what y'all did, but that don't count now.
See, and where the thing is, it just makes me angry about that too. When they miss these plays, In other sports, when they do stuff like that, dudes lose a check, or they'll tell you can't play in a big game or whatever. But if you don't have that fear, that it could be like, oh, what you say about my mama? I don't see no pass interference. And guess what? Monday they'll review it and say he missed it. Like, so get you a player that's on that squad to come out there when they run a play. If that referee's anywhere around, before you hit him, turn your back. Boom. You may not get the call, but at least you get some satisfaction out the deal.
When you get so violent, guy.
I'm usually violent on Thursdays, but I had a little bit of too much tryptophan with that turkey, so I was sleeping. I missed it. Just make it up.
So I want to send a prayer out to Irene Carr family. What was that today?
Friday.
Okay. And also praying for Chicago legend Jesse Sanders. He had a stroke. He had a stroke this weekend. So praying that he recovers from the stroke. And also positive note, y'all been hearing us every so often talking about Bruce Hollywood Wilson, a friend of ours from high school. Me and Guy went to see him yesterday, and I mean, he's having a remarkable recovery from where he was 3 weeks ago. We had conversations, we were laughing, and he actually talked about a few things that was happening 30, 40 years ago, right? Yeah. That was kind of like, that was great to see that, Well,
did he cuss one of y'all out?
No.
That's how I know when he back.
but the thing, and it was interesting though, because he was trying to remember something he couldn't remember. And first thing, but nah, man, don't worry about it. And stuff that I can't remember now, which is true. My daughter told me something. I walked away, and I'm like, "What you say?" So, but his process, man, he's doing. Thank God, he's doing much better.
I'm assuming he had a stroke.
Yeah,
yes,
micro strokes. Yeah, he's had a series of them.
Okay, well,
he'll be back on the Bears Banter page telling y'all.
He's one of your fraternity brothers, Jimmy. He from Howard.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I had one of the buddies I used to work with. He had a major stroke, was in a coma for like 6 months. So what had happened? He'll remember all that old stuff. Is the short-term memory they usually have issues with.
Yeah, his is more of a micro level because one, he doesn't have any paralysis, and I know that when he was in the hospital, he was very lucid. It was like he didn't even know who Bernard was. We've been knowing for over 40 years, but when I knew that he was getting better was his daughter. He told his daughter to call me, so she called me, and he was like, "Yeah, I remember. Yeah, Bernard came out to see me," and I'm like, "Okay, my man is back," because initially he didn't even remember that he came. So yeah, but you're right about
Praise
that.
the Lord.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we'll see y'all Friday, because the game is Sunday, right? The game's practice Sunday. Okay, so we see y'all Friday for the pregame show. Peace.
Let's go blue.